Sorry, guys. Man, gosh, dang it. Did it again. Well, it's good. Kyle's not here yet anyway. He's on his way. But Avast ahoy and hello and all that pirate shit to all you guys. I'm Captain RG3, obviously, and this is your Discourse Syndicate. That happens too often. Pirate moment. Anyway, where was I? So Dev Kyle is going to be coming on today. Whenever we can get him on, we're going to bring him on. We don't get him that often. He was here last week, and he's going to be on this week also because he has a little bit of time. So I know we've exhausted a lot of questions with him. We've had 2 episodes, and the last one was pretty much a deep dive with Good Texture. Good Texture's busy. He's out on his North 40 and probably cutting stumps and chasing goats, and they're running scared and all that good stuff. So Good Texture probably won't be dropping in to dump questions, but we're going to be looking to the chat for some questions. I've got an agenda too, some things that I want to talk about in general. And we may have a couple of the Cutthroats drop in, not sure. I know a lot of them are working, a lot of them are busy. Today I happen to have some time, so Kyle said he was cool, so we're going to do it. I know we've been streaming a lot, guys. You know, I mean, Good Texture and Hexo were on last night for like 6 hours, and I even popped on there for a few seconds just to mess with them. But man, we've been streaming a lot. But it's all good content. And it's good to get your Hex content, because if you sit out there in crypto Twitter or you sit out there in crypto YouTube, it's just a sea of bullshit, man. It's so pathetic. I mean, I hear them being critical about issues and stuff. And these are, you know, some of the more influential influencers out there, like in crypto Twitter and stuff. But they're doing the same. They're singing the same ass song, the same old tired ass trading song, sitting there with a chart behind them, telling you it's going to go up, it's going to go down, it could go sideways, it could go this, it could go that. Oh shit, it went 0. Oh wow, it's pumping. Oh bo. Same shit every time, and they're making a living off of it because, like, even today, you know, I don't want to say her name. But she had she did a little news show and talked about some Cointelegraph stuff. And then, of course, the big news of the last couple of days has been the Dogecoin pump and what caused that. And, you know, and I heard her get on there and start chastising it and calling it a pump and dump. And how dare you get on our beloved Twitter or beloved TikTok and do all this shit and create a pump and dump. It's like, and then in the same breath, that person shilled margin trading. I mean, in the same friggin' breath. So I was like, what do these people not realize? And of course she gave her disclaimer, you know, that this is a highly volatile, you know, space, the crypto world and all this stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Kyle just messed me up by sending me a message. Okay, Kyle, we're cool, man. When you get in, come on in. He's trying to get his audio fixed, so he's on his way in. But oh snap! What's the Steam schedule? Stream schedule. She needs a good spanking. Chart. S charts. Chatar said. Yeah, you know, it was like chastising things that are going on, and then in the same breath shilling freaking margin trading, and then giving a disclaimer because they don't want to be accountable for any young man's suicide or anything like that, because, you know, margin trading platform fucked up and sent him the wrong numbers or something. You know, they all shill this stuff. They all try and hide themselves from it, and they all make money off of it. And they all talk so highly about crypto. You know, they're so in love with their crypto, and they bash, you know, everything else out there, and the government and the money system and the this and the banks and the that and the this. But I don't see them with any substance. I don't see them, you know, supporting anything that has any substance. The crypto trading world is 10 times as shady as the shady real world stock market trading. 10 times. And there's no doubting it. And then they talk about the scams and everything else that's out there. And, and it's like, you're swimming in a sea of shit trying to pick out the turds and throw them out off the side. It's like, really? That's what you're doing? Really? And you're shilling this and making money off of it and exposing yourself. It's unbelievable to me, And so tonight, so let me back up a little bit. So tonight I'm trying to bring some people on. If anyone's seen Ballet Bran, my boy, would you let him know I'm looking for him? That he needs to contact me if anybody knows him or whatever. Tell him to contact me. I want to talk about TikTok tonight and what happened with the Dogecoin deal and whatnot. And me and Kyle are going to talk about it a little bit too. I want to spend a day talking about this thing and talking about a certain subject, which is all near and dear to our hearts, and that is the marketing of HEX. And also, I want to say that I could have been wrong in one of my opinions that I just gave recently. And you know what? Before I get into that, let me step away just for a second. And I got to turn the freaking air on, man. It's getting hot as shit in here. So give me just a quick second, and I'll be right back. Kyle's not here yet either. No. All right. I'm back. You guys, I didn't turn anything off, did I? Bran is an awesome sidekick for RG3. I like Bran. I really do like Bran. He is quite a character, and he looks good in a tank top. So let's see. Where was I? So I wanted to roll back something that I said. So one of my predictions, or one of the things that I've been spouting off about, having rants about and everything, is bringing in new users is kind of a fruitless effort compared to working on crypto people, people that are always crypto. And yeah, I know that everybody's saying that it's Chinese spyware. TikTok just wrecked the shit out of Donald Trump and some of the Black Lives Matter people. And I mean, TikTok has been like being used as a weapon towards different organizations and things like that because it's so popular. So people are, hey, there's Bran. People are fudding against it right now and saying, hey, let's get rid of this thing. It's Chinese this, Chinese that. Well, I got news for you guys. The reason they're fudding against it is because it's popular and they're using it as a platform. And people, look, when I come home at night, sometimes my daughter and my wife are on that thing laughing their asses off, flipping through it. I've even got stuck flipping through it, going through some of the weird, crazy shit on there. One of the communities that I'm involved in is the Native American community. I'm a half breed. My dad's full blood Native American. My mom's white girl. So I'm in the middle. And but the Native American community is really kind of small, tight knit. A lot of people, we all know each other, different tribes and whatnot. And native TikTok is going absolutely nuts right now. So the people at different reservations and whatnot, they're all talking to each other on TikTok. They're running these little videos. They're doing these little promos. They're doing all these things. And they're they used it during this COVID thing. So one of the big community things in the native world is powwows, and our powwows have been shut down for the last, few months here. This was powwow season. The springtime is powwow season. So everybody's at the powwows and they dance and do all the things, And so they haven't been able to do that. So they've been having virtual powwows and doing it on TikTok. They've been doing a lot of this stuff on TikTok. And so the native community has really come together and utilize this tool. And I'm seeing that I'm seeing this thing has become very, very popular, especially during this pandemic while everybody's stuck indoors. So that being said, we just watched a Black Swan event. It wasn't that big of a pump. It was a pump and, whatever. But we've seen a little Black Swan event using that application for a coin that we've all known for a long time that's just been sitting there next to Bitcoin like a joke coin, Dogecoin. And so people bought into it from outside of crypto. So there's something to be said here, guys. And we can call it a whatever we want to call it, but the damn thing is a medium and people are using it. And we have to be smart enough at some point here to go, do we bash it because everybody else is bashing it? Or do we look at why they're bashing it and go, hey, maybe we can utilize this fucking thing as a tool, right? So that's my whole point of wanting to bring people who understand TikTok on tonight's show and kind of talk about that, talk about marketing. And then when Kyle does get in here, I want to talk to him about some of that stuff and what's going on. So let me go through the chat here. I don't do this often. Let me find this chat room. This is better, I think. Let me separate it. Boom. Spread it out. And I'm so freaking not good at this. There we go. All right. So now I'm in the chat room. All right, guys. So chat room things. Roger Lee 777's here. What's that restream bot? Decided to open live streams for the first time once we hit 1 cent. I don't understand that. Anyway, Hector, Project 22. See, you've been putting a lot of work in these streams. Thanks, Cap. Hey, you're welcome. I do put in a lot of work. It's a labor of love though, because it's for the community and I support my buddy Hexologist. And so if you are here and you're new or you're coming in from Dlive or any of that and you're interested, go to hex.doctor. And that's where we are bringing in, that's where you can get your hex or learn about hex. But if you go to hex.doctor, that is his link to get into the HEX Crypto. Who else we got in here? So that was Hector, the projector. Band Live Bear. No, oh, you guys are all telling me no audio. Eschatar's here. Colin Hexander. Hey, thanks for that little GIF you put up there. That was like going with the beat. That was cool. Maga 420 said I was muted AF. Yeah, I was. Winter Rose. Who else is in here? Hextoshi. Right on. All the regs, all the regulars coming in here. Appreciate you guys. Looks like I got a guess. Oh, I like that one too. Eschatar. Nice. This is cool that you can put all of those. See, Tiago's in here. Right on. Tiago, unhexable. Let's see. And Bran. Look at Bran's in here now. Bran. Right on, bud. Okay. My boy Johnny's here, and look at him. He's looking rather freaking crazy. Let me get this in the right place. Jeez, if you mark out TikTok, keep it away from your wall. Oh, Eshar said, seriously, TikTok is stealing crypto keys. If you mark it on TikTok, keep it away from your wallet. I don't have any wallets on my phone anymore. I had one that I was playing with, but I don't have it on my phone anymore. Let's see. Hey, Diswed to Jefe. What's happening? Okay. So let me pull up Johnny. Dude, what is up, dude? Look at you rocking the freaking hair today, man.
Just washed it. Got done doing the lawn today, so it's all crazy and drying. Had the top down in the Jeep, cruising, hair blowing everywhere. Gotta have my shades, man.
Freaking rock and roll, bro.
And why I still got all my hair.
seeing spectacles.
So, I still got all my hair. You know why?
Yeah,
I stopped
yeah.
trading.
So hey, I'm gonna. I still got mine too. I still got mine too. It's just not long anymore. I cut it. It used to be down past the middle of my back. I had long hair. I'll have to throw a picture up there one time of that craziness. But anyway, let's see. So I started talking. We started talking about the little TikTok incident, little Black Swan event that they had. But now we have Dev Kyle here. So that's going to be tonight's show. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit or whatever. But I'm going to bring up Dev Kyle and we can have a little combo and update our conversation we had last week. So without any further BS, let's bring up Dev Kyle. What's happening?
Yeah. Apparently the world conspires such that I'm always late when I think I can talk to you. So
that's all right, man.
I'm so sorry, man.
No, that's all right. We just got started and whenever we can get you on here, we'll get you on here. But no big deal.
Yeah, I'll be more ambitious or more conservative. I don't know what the right word is next time on timing. Johnny, nice to meet you. I don't believe we've met.
Nice to meet you, Kyle. Yeah,
I think actually you guys have met. You just don't recognize him because he's got his hair laid out like that.
Oh, here, hold on. We'll go back.
Let's see.
There we go.
It's a Clark Kent Superman kind of thing. Wonderful. Pull the hair back. You're regular old Clark Kent.
Yep. So you've got a lot of this is what happened last time. You got a lot of background noise, but
oh geez,
I think it's just a haze, but that's okay. You can just leave it on. It doesn't matter. It's not.
I'm kind of used to managing the mute with all these COVID meetings.
Oh, you're doing a lot of those lately, huh?
It feels like wall-to-wall meetings.
Yeah, no, we've been doing the same thing here in the Hex community. Everybody's been like just hitting the Hex YouTubes hard the last few days. It seems like.
Yeah, so I think my state and a few other states are having a resurgence, but just generally my company is encouraging everyone to work remotely. But then that means more conference calls, endless conference calls.
Mm-hmm. So we had a bunch of questions for you that got real technical when Good Texture came in. Was there anything that you wanted to update from that, or was there any questions that were asked that you now have answers to, or was any of that needing an update?
As far as I know, I answered all the questions. I think the only one I had to be a little rushed at the end was about pros and cons of different behaviors that large whales or the origin address could do. And I think I got out what I wanted to, which was don't burn coins. That is sort of a trap. People who say, you have a bunch, or the OA has a bunch, it should burn them as a sign of good faith. Just destroys market cap. You're still not going to convince those people. It's sort of a false milestone, or they'll just move the goalposts. So that's a pointless thing to do. There would be reasons to hold coins unstaked, higher market cap, and there would be reasons to lock them up for a super long time. You have faith in the project, or sort of demonstrated faith in the project by a large whale, but reduces the market cap and reduces the payout for other stakers. So that's the trade-off there.
That was one of the things that I've spoken to the community about when I've had conversations with you, is your attitude about the OA. To a lot of people, especially the newbies who come in and the noobs and they don't understand a lot of the FUD comes from the OA itself. Of course, that's almost like the last piece of FUD that the rest of the crypto world has to talk about is, what is he doing with that, or who owns that, or why is he not letting anybody know about that? But every time that we've had a conversation with you about the OA, you've been very confident in how you speak of it, and you don't even flinch like it's like, really, people think of it as that? No, and then, of course you don't fully know yourself what that is doing or what it's going to do. But you've had no doubt in your mind that it was actually there to help the project versus hinder it.
Yeah, so I guess I can restate the position. Yeah, I'll just restate the position kind of from the beginning. So when I came on board with the project, meaning that I was convinced this was a good idea and kind of worth spending time and energy on, I read through the code, and the OA is sort of there, clear as day. And I get it. There is this immediate emotional reaction or sense of discomfort, like something is not fair here. Like this is supposed to be egalitarian, and there's sort of a fixed way to claim your coins, and they inflate at a very stable percentage, and everything feels very, we all have the same starting line and then go, and if you got there early, you get all the mad gains. And if you come in late, there's still gains for you too, but just less than early guys. And so there was the early sense within the community, once it became more clear what the OA was going to end up with at the end of launch phase. People had this discomfort, like, how do I pitch this to my friends? Like, yeah, I believe in it, but how do I make them believe in it? Which speaks a little bit to an internal doubt, because let's use an analogy. If you are a stockholder in a large company, and this is not a very great analogy because there's no company and the OA isn't accountable to you, but let's just use the analogy of a company because people do this all the time. If you hold stock in a company, somebody else has a much larger portion of that stock than you, either because they got there first, or they were a founder, or they're an activist investor. Like there's some big names like Carl Icahn, buys 5% of Netflix, and now he just starts raising hell with the board. Like those guys exist, and they have a lot, and you don't. But you believe in the mission of what the company's trying to achieve. You like their balance sheet. You think it has good fundamentals. So you just go along for the ride, and you want the large minority or majority stakeholders to do well, because you get to ride their coattails. They're highly motivated to do well, so they're going to make you do well too. So you can get on and go along for the ride, and when you don't want to be along anymore, you sell. Most stocks that are just buy and hold stocks, you hold them until you don't think they will go up more, and then you sell them. But you're in it for the same reasons. You think that the people who are making decisions and have more of the stock than you are going to do things in their own best interest. And that's all the OA is, except that it doesn't have to report anything to you. It's more like a private company that doesn't owe you disclosures or public information. It just has this strict financial incentive, which is what a lot of crypto projects are based on. All the DeFi stuff, all of the proposals for Ethereum on how to do certain kinds of social contracts, it's all based on bonds and incentives. It's all about, you will lose more for doing badly than you will gain for acting honorably or doing good. So this is not quite as like theoretically or mathematically underpinned like some of those systems. But the principle is the same. It just creates a large minority stakeholder that is highly incentivized to make the project successful. And you can get coins for free. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a key difference between HEX and other sorts of stock or other sorts of shared gains instruments, is that you can claim it for free if you had Bitcoin at the snapshot. And then if you really want to buy in, you can do that too.
Yeah, that's been emphasized a bunch. It's a giveaway. You can go buy it on an exchange, or you can mint in the AA. First of all, thanks Richie for the Ninja Guinea. I appreciate that. We've got, I don't know if you know, Kyle, but we got this new platform now that we're streaming on. It's called Dlive. Since we've been getting censored by YouTube, we've moved to Justin's platform, which is Dlive, and it's pretty cool. But it's got this kind of, at first I thought it was a really hokey, crazy function where you can gift people lemons and ice creams and diamonds and ninja guineas and ninjets. it's very what do they call that the cartoon stuff, the Asian cartoon stuff.
Anime.
Anime. It's very
okay.
anime type,
Got it.
thing, and but they put it in the chat rooms, and people gift you these things, and they're actually currency. They're a cryptocurrency. So I guess they're.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it's all based on Lino, I think it is the name of the crypto, and all of these things add up into, I guess, Lino, and you could trade them in, and they're actually cash and stuff. So, but
That's cool.
yeah, it's very cool.
And there's a way to open the trust at the end so that you can like release funds back to the community.
Yeah. So here's the cool part
So there's
about
like
it. So the chest, which I mean, I kind of like because it's like, hey, it's a treasure chest, that's cool.
The pirate thing.
Yeah. So as people are actually utilizing the chat room, the platform is actually filling that chest with, lemons. So that's going up based upon the activity in the chat room, and then they're donating, and as they're donating, every lemon I get 0.75 of a lemon, and of course the platform gets 0.25 of a lemon, but they do fill that chest, and then at the end I have the ability to put some more into the chest, and then I can distribute it, and the distribution, when I open the chest up, the distribution goes to the chat room, and whoever's been the most active people, it kind of aggregates the chest to all those people who are the most active in the chat room. So
That's cool. And nobody gets scurvy.
Yeah, so it enhances participation type of thing. I thought it was a little corny at first, but it's really actually a pretty cool concept.
No, it's neat. I mean, I've looked at a few of the streaming platforms since the sort of ratcheting down of censorship started, and some of them have these sort of, it seems cutesy, or like you're not really sure what the ad is, but it's better than an emoticon or whatever. God, that probably dates me. But colon, close parenthesis, to smile at you. Instead you have a little animated lemon.
Yeah,
it's neat. I think it does add something, even if it's subconscious.
It does.
Much better.
It does, and their platform is really good. And one of the cool things about this platform is that it's so new, it's so fresh, and the content on it is so ridiculous. Some of it. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I mean, literally, Kyle, there was a guy in a shed, that was, hey, his like thing is, I'm in a shed, and he's just talking to himself in this shed. It was horrible. But I mean, so there's all this crazy content on here, and every time that Hexologist or we go on, we shoot up like number 1, number 2 on the board instantly, because
Nice.
I mean, we brought a bunch of viewers over here like instantly, and I mean, our streams aren't that old, and we've got a lot of people viewing, so the Hex community is really, digging in and taking over this platform.
That's great.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Bran, and who else? Somebody else gave a diamond. So let's see, Bran gave us a diamond. We also got a diamond from Richie Rich, and then somebody else. I think. Oh, look at here comes all the lemons now. Bam, bam, bam. Lemon. Hex toys. Hey, Hex. Oh, Hex toys. So. Have you seen this yet, Kyle? Have you seen Hex toys yet?
No, I've only seen like links from chat rooms. I changed my mic setting. Is the background noise any better?
Nah, it still sounds like you're in the ocean. But it's okay. It's really not that bad. But
we had one question where we had.
Go ahead.
We had one question that was a little bit in debate. Is after the big payday and the share rate, is it based on, being it based on the highest return? And we were talking about that going exponential. And people were, I guess, GT was saying, well, you're going to get double your funds back. And I said, yeah, you might get double your funds back, but based on the returns of someone that has more and getting a higher return. But is it based on percentage, or is it based on the amount of the return that's going to affect the big payday, or the share rate after big payday?
Trying to tease out precisely what your question is. So is the question, if I put in 1,000 and you put in 1,000,000 for the same length of time, what happens? Or if I put in for a year and you put in for 2 years, what happens?
Yeah, can a person with 1,000 versus 1,000,000 have a bigger impact on the share rate based on percentage? Are they getting the same percentage? Does that still make the share rate go up that much, or does somebody that's putting in the million have the higher impact?
Gotcha. Okay. So let's talk about this in 2 ways. So the simplified case is if we ignore bigger pays better. So you do get a small share bonus for putting in a larger sum of hex at a time. But let's ignore that for a moment. The way the share rate is calculated is when you end your stake, and this can be early, this can be on time, this can be late. Whenever you end it, your total returned hex is calculated. So that's your principal plus whatever payments you've earned or are accounted. So your interest payments and big payday, if applicable. It's just like any other day, but has the special extra payment. Any penalties are then factored in. So your 1,000 becomes 2,000 or 3,000. And then you factor in penalties. So if you were on time, there's no problem, that's a zero. Zero penalties. If you're early or late, then penalties are applied. Then you get a final number. And let's say that you have no penalties and that number is 2,000. Let's say you did double. The share rate is calculated as if you put in 2,000, meaning what you're going to get back. It recalculates as if you had staked that for the same duration. And then takes the share rate that would be required to give you the same number of shares. So if you put in 1,000 and you do it for a year and you get 1 billion shares and then you get 2,000 out, it runs the calculation in reverse and says, let's say instead you put in 2,000 for a year, how do you get 1 billion shares out? The share rate has to be twice what it is now. That's it. So it's strictly a ratio. So whether it's 1,000 to 2,000, 1,000,000 to 2,000,000 makes no difference. The difference between 1,000 and 1,000,000 is that you have a little bit of a bigger pays better bonus. So the 1,000,000 has a little bit more than 1 billion shares or 1 trillion shares because it's 1,000 times 1,000 times 1 billion. Sorry, 1,000 goes to 1 billion, so 1,000,000 goes to 1 trillion. So instead of 1 trillion shares, you have like 1.01 trillion shares. So it changes your ratio a little bit, meaning that you earn a little bit more interest, but you also had a few more shares. So you're going to change the share rate by a little bit more, like 1% more or 2% more, not by much, because 1,000,000 is still a far cry from the cap of 150 million, where you get that full 10% bonus. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that helps. 1,000,000 does impact the share rate a little bit more because a bigger pays better, but otherwise it's strictly a ratio, and so anybody can move that share rate.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking again that it looks at the amount of return, and that's what the share rate is calculated on, but not the 1 to 2 ratio, but the amount of return. So in the situation where it was the amount of return, when 1,000,000 makes 3,000,000 on big payday, that means it now takes 3,000,000 to buy the same amount of shares that 1,000,000 bought. So that's a little bit different.
So I think I lost the end of your. I could just sum up. Yeah,
okay,
so the return does matter, and the return is based on the number of shares. You do get bonus shares for staking larger amounts, so larger amounts do actually impact it a little more, but it's not nearly as much as the length of your stake. So if you stake for 5 years or whatever, that's you get an extra 100% share, even if you had a big fat.
So we won't really see the impact. We won't really see the impact until. It's not going to be like right after big payday when we're going to see the massive impact. 5 years down the line, when that person pulls off that first 5-year stake, that's going to make it spike again.
So you might think that based on just those like snapshots of people who did about a year and then about 5 years, and then some people that went 10 years, some people went 15 years. But the system's always in motion. right? Like there's always new people who just got on board and just staked for 5 years. So, or just staked for 4 years, or they saw all of that activity on one of the, gruesome number of info sites that Hex has produced or inspired. And they say, oh, actually, if I go 4.5 years, then I can front run everybody. And so the curve ends up looking much more smooth than what you're imagining. That like you got a big chunk of day one people who have these very discrete points in time that they've chosen for whatever reason. And then maybe 6 months in, now we're 6 months in, another crop of people, found out about the project and they do a thing. When in reality, it's been like people are doing stuff every day. I mean, if you look in the Telegram groups, people are updating their staking ladders. They have regular income, and so they're dollar cost averaging in just based on their income. They get a little excited again because there's like a big bump in the price or a big dump from some FUD of people that want to buy in, and then they want to stake what they just bought. So there's actually a fairly smooth curve of stakes that are ending, and so that share rate is not going to change by weird jumps very often. Big Payday is going to be the exception.
And your predictions for the difference in the share price after Big Payday would be?
Everybody asked. I modeled this using some kind of random user behavior across many, many, many users. That model made some assumptions, but now we have real data, which is largely invalidated the model. These are all the caveats for a prediction. So before the project launched, it looked like with a very high stake percentage, so like with 80% of people staking, you would roughly double your money no matter when you got in. So Big Payday was very, very impactful. At the moment, it looks like you're going to do better than doubling your money. But your mileage may vary, and the behavior of OA may change, and people may pull their coins early. Lots of stuff can happen between now and then.
So he's not going to answer this because there's too many variables and moving parts.
I'm not going to answer because I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know.
Right.
I can tell you what I guessed when I was guessing the behavior of thousands and thousands of independent agents, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't help.
Yeah, that was something that I was thinking about too. So, a lot of us have talked about, hey, I'm going to pull this stake and I'm going to, take the gains from it, put the principal back in or whatever. A lot of these ladders really aren't built for that. The ladders are built as, like you said, an income stream. So at some point, if you only have a ladder, you're going to run out of hex, and unless you've staked some bigger stakes, or you've laddered through a year and then staked a couple of big stakes that you want to reinvest the principal in, or you're planning on doing that 2-year ladder. You're gonna make your ladder big enough to support whatever it is you're trying to support.
Yeah, I know some folks do monthly. So this is also kind of what I modeled when I was taking a guess at how people might behave. That there are real life time horizons that people target. Some people are doing college funds. Some people want to be able to buy their next car for cash. Some people want a down payment for a house. Some people just want basically a monthly revenue stream similar to a dividend, or quarterly, or whatever it is. So I just kind of took a guess and said, let's say 5% of people do this, 5% of people do that, 1% are just like all in college savings, 10% of people do blah, blah, blah. But it's just guessing. And so everybody's kind of doing what works for them. And it's a combination of market timing, or they're just taking a long view on some real life milestones that they're going to hit.
Now,
sorry if that's not a good answer,
first
man.
Stake after the first stake after Big Payday, assuming that everybody's going to get approximately double their money. If that stake comes out after Big Payday, that does double the price of the share rate. Yeah,
that's right. So again, going back to the 1,000.
So we can figure it's at least going to double after Big Payday.
Yeah, yeah. And so I put a plot out there of what the outputs were of running the various simulations, and there's always this big step. Like it sort of goes up kind of flat during launch phase, big step, and then flat again. And then if you zoom out 10 years, 15 years, you see the curve behavior.
And the curve starts back up. Yeah.
Yep. So were there were some viewer questions from last time, or was it all price predictions?
No, we're not going to get into that. I mean, we always have to somehow.
Not really price. It's just
Yeah,
it was all about share rate, not necessarily price.
I get you.
I mean,
man.
it's
I'm
just
just
we had a disagreement about how that worked out.
I wanted to get into something with you, and start discussing it because, hold on a second. The Hex Toys, he's in the chat right now, and he's building a dApp on next to Hex, and he's doing a lot of cool stuff with social media, and he's making hats and all these other things, and he's doing stuff. Wanted you to kind of talk a little bit about, I've heard from a lot of the different dApps that you've been involved in them. We did talk a little bit about it last time you spoke. But I have been hearing some of these dApps, using you as, hey, Kyle's helped us this and that and the other. Just one more time, would you explain, exactly your involvement in some of these things and what it is that you're doing so that,
Sure.
They hear it from your mouth?
Sure. I mean, I guess I don't have an exhaustive list in mind, but for sure, I know that I helped the Toucan Air guys, and a few other dApps have adopted some of that code. So I just wrote some utility code to help bridge the API you wish you had if you're trying to write a dApp against Hex, particularly when your contract is going to act on behalf of more than one user. So you store the state of some user accounts and you want to stake on their behalf and then not lose track of their earned interest or their stakes, because the Hex contract, while very efficient, makes for kind of an unpleasant API surface for the developers. So I wrote some utility code for them. The Hex mobile app, actually, I guess there's more than one now, but there was a Hex mobile app that does generates QR code that you can do like referrals. So I wrote the prototype version of that for Android and gave that to them kind of wholesale. Not wholesale, just I zipped it up and sent it to them, whatever that is. And then there was some follow-on work with some smart contracts to get around the fact that mobile wallets don't implement the standards for how to interact with smart contracts via URL. On their behalf, I tried a bunch of different standards for ways to encode information in a smart, or in a like a quote unquote payment call. You can say, pay this amount of Ethereum, but by the way, route it to this contract and call this function. None of that works uniformly on the mobile wallets. So I wrote some smart contracts for them to do that part of just taking Ethereum in and then delegating it to the Hex contract on their behalf. I wrote kind of an affiliate contract generator around that. That's not deployed because they merged with Hex Business, and I just haven't updated that stuff for them. Let's see. A couple other folks have asked me to review contracts, particularly some of the dApps like Hourglass contracts, just to look them over, make sure that there's no escape hatch for an exit scam, or that it's actually interacting with the Hex API. So a lot of validation stuff. I have written code and deployed code for people, but I don't work for anybody. I mean, all of this is donated stuff. And a couple of folks have written an Ethereum address of mine into their dev fees, but there was no prior arrangement for any of that. So all my stuff's public. If you go to any of the documents, so the layman's guide has the Ethereum address that I use for all things Hex. You can go look at the whole history. It's absorbed some Hex from some of these projects where folks are very generous with me. But basically, anyone who reaches out and asks questions, if I have time, I answer them. if I have time to review code, which I usually do, because that's much easier than writing and testing and deploying. I have reviewed a lot of code and reviewed a lot of dApps that sort of came on the scene, including the scam one. It's just a generated ERC20 that super duper promises to have a hex version later. That's the kind of stuff that I've been doing for the community. Answering questions. I have written some code and donated it, and it's all public. The links are available in the channels. Kept all my Ethereum addresses public, so people are free to look at that. Yeah, hopefully that answers the question. But it's been a year, so lots of stuff has happened.
Right on. Well, I mean, this thing has been beat to death too, and I've, some of the guys on the show here, a lot of the Cutthroats, Good Texture in particular, has been very critical of the Hexy project, and right after he was, very critical to them, they had to pull their liquidity because of a bug that they're currently working on. Do you have any opinion
about that?
Do you have any opinion on that yet, or anything that you want to say about that?
Sure. Yeah. Let's see. So that effort started. Geez. All right. So there was this Hex mobile app. There was a member of the community who had a website that did some projections, sort of a simplified version of the tool that I wrote. And they put a UI on it, and they had some other stuff. And they had plans to do more. They wanted to do a mobile app. They wanted to have like accounts and chat forums and all this. That stuff didn't come to fruition. That person has exited the community for their own reasons, not nefarious, and there was no money collected or anything. They exited the community. But this mobile app is still kind of languishing. Simultaneously, I got reached out to by the Hex business folks. I think it was just the Lotto at the time, or Hex Lotto. And they were looking for a partnership for some folks to do like a referral kind of app. I put those two in touch. They formed Hex.business. The Lotto kind of came out of that. That was another one of the contracts that I reviewed and made some suggestions on how to get around some gas fee thing. And the guy in charge of Hex Business, he had a zillion ideas, and he was sharing them with me kind of a mile a minute, like faster than I could look them over. And this idea for currency got pitched, Hexy. And I took a look at the document. I didn't really understand what it was for. I didn't understand the pitch. The guy seemed genuine, like he really had this plan to create a second layer currency to do transactional stuff while keeping Hex locked. So the value proposition of Hex remained, and you could basically borrow against it. This is a very high level pitch. You could borrow against it to do stuff in their dApp ecosystem to get with Hexycoin.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. I told him I can't give you a thumbs up on this because I don't really understand what it's for, and then it was launched. So obviously he doesn't need my permission, but he was asking me to look it over. I didn't get it. He launched it anyway. People seemed really jazzed by it. I, at first, didn't really understand why people were jazzed by it. Like there was this sort of dividend thing, but it was predicated on people buying some with Hex, and then that Hex gets redistributed, which is sort of, that's going to run out at some point. I still didn't get it. But the intention that this guy expresses still seems genuine. But here's the big but. I guess it's whatever. It's not this or that. Good Texture is talking about what have you delivered? What exists? What can I call? What do I not need to go to your website to do? Hex perfectly delivers on that promise. It's fully developed, audited, delivered, decentralized. Tools are built on it. There's a community. You can do it yourself. You can link up your hard wallet. You can write your own website. You can use a client that you write if you learn to code. All of it exists and is immutable. Hexy is ideas. Some of them I think are really good ideas, but they're ideas that are being built. So if you're looking to say, here's Hex, fully delivered, fully exists, concrete, I can point at it on the network, then you're going to have that.
Which we got to admit, in crypto, is an extremely high bar.
Totally. It's an extreme.
It's the top bar because it doesn't exist anywhere but in Hex, to be honest.
Absolutely. So that is a real thing, and unlike ICOs 2017, unlike even Cardano has been a vaporware product, until yesterday or something. And again, that was a project I thought was super cool.
We all did,
right? So the goodwill, the social capital of good intentions just doesn't go very far with a lot of people. And that is fair. That is a fair criticism.
It is.
And if you deliver on your promises and you don't screw anybody and you can justify administrative action like pulling liquidity, and you can rebuild some of that goodwill, some of that faith by delivering again and again and again, then maybe you will have earned the trust. And then maybe in 5 years, somebody owes you an apology. But this is crypto. And in 5 years, you may be gone with all the money. In 5 days, you may be gone with all the money. So I don't blame Good Texture or anyone who has that opinion on being distrustful of promises and good ideas. We had promises and good ideas. It absorbed billions of dollars of poor sap's money,
yes.
And then exited the scene. Yeah. So my read on the Hex.business guys is that they have good intentions, but I don't even trust my own emotions to give it the rubber stamp and say that all is well. I believe they have good intentions, and I believe they're trying to do better in the future. In fact, you asked about the bug. So I did talk to them about that. I'm still in touch with those guys. They're on sort of a different time zone. I've had some 5 a.m. conversations with a couple of the guys that are stateside. There was a bug. It was an issue. They're kind of, this is an unfortunate part of being, trying to do the product lifecycle thing, is that you want to get to market and meet your commitments to your customers, but then the trade-off is that you've put smart contracts out there that are not what you would have wanted them to be. Hex kind of famously was 50 days from launch for 6 months, right? Like it was 50 days forever was kind of the meme for almost half a year, because it had to be. Yeah, 4 weeks. Sorry,
4 weeks. Yeah. Never ending.
4 weeks forever.
4 weeks.
Because it had to be perfect. Because the analogy that I used before was that it's like planning a rocket launch. You know, if you're trying to get a satellite to go through Jupiter, you have to plan all the orbital patterns. You have to wait for the weather to be right. Because once that thing is flying through space, you can't change course. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. The Hexy folks are doing more of a product lifecycle thing. So they're trying to deliver on commitments that they've made to customers. That can leave bugs. Bugs in smart contracts are very bad because then money can get siphoned. And it can be siphoned at the speed of a transaction getting processed. So they're trying, and I gave them a checklist. So you guys made some kind of bad mistakes here that make you not look good. Here is what you should do to rectify that in the future. Here's what you should do to try and clean up the pieces of broken trust. Like somebody found that the function that lets them build out the dApp network, where you can mint Hexy as a dApp that's connected to the network. It's like, hey, what the F is this? Like, how do you not just mint unlimited Hexy for yourself? Like, right, guys, you have to explain this stuff. Like, you can't just leave an exercise to the user. You have to make this all transparent, put all this data on the blockchain, let people examine it. I recommended that they use, since they're going to do this style, regular DeFi actually has something to say about this. You can use time-locked multisig wallets where you propose a contract change, and then there's a time period where you can't make it go into effect until everyone's had a chance to review it. Like review what the next whitelist version is, review the next dApp to make sure there's no bugs in it. And then if anyone in the community sounds the alarm, you can terminate the rollout. Like there are practices. I gave some recommendations for practices, but if they put them into effect, then that will be a step. That will be a step towards building trust, though you may never cross the threshold that Good Texture is looking for, which is call me when it's all perfect and complete and deliver.
Call me when it looks like Hex.
Yeah, call me when it looks like Hex.
And that's my whole that's my whole argument about it, is that Hex has created this new bar, and those of us who who believe in Hex only, and Hex is, the coin to rule all coins. We are now starting to put that bar on other projects, and that's not realistic. You just
Nobody else is hitting that bar.
It's like it's like saying, it's like walking into a kindergarten and you're the freaking baddest ass MMA guy in the world and saying, look, I'm going to kick, you can't kick my ass. It just doesn't, it's not a fair subject. Now, what's going on is definitely up for criticism. I understand that, but it's no different than any other crypto. It's no different. They've all made these promises.
There's a slight. So there's one thing where I will give Hexy, and not just Hexy, but other dApps that are trying to get in early on Hex. One thing to remember, and this doesn't have to change anybody's opinion.
They're under time constraints.
They're under time constraints. So launch phase is running out. If you want to do anything with referrals, with affiliates, with the AA, it has to be now. So there is a time pressure to build and deploy that didn't exist for Hex.
Yeah, and that was going to be my other argument. Was they're under a lot of time.
The same as an actual clock.
Yeah, and if you've got time investment, money investment, you're supposed to deliver. Those are hard things to. You've got to do that. Period. End of story. So I get it. Now, is it right? Yeah. If it doesn't work, it's not. Of course. If it breaks, it's not. And that's what they've done. It looks like they've done a good thing by rolling it back to their V1 and offering that now, which is going to be launching soon. They said, add the liquidity back, go back to V1, and leave it there, and then scrap V2 and go to V3. So good for them. It looks like that's what they're doing, and I want to give them the fair shot at heading out at that. And I understand all of the of Good Texture, who's I trust his judgment on a lot of things, and I get it, but I do understand what these guys are trying to do too, and what's really bothered me is all the emotions that everybody's gone through here, because now it's kind of like split the camps, when it comes to the Hexy folks and the Hex folks, and I've seen that emotionally in my DMs and people sending me angry videos and messages and on both sides, So I mean, there's an argument for both sides. I get both sides, and I guess the jury's out. And if you're part of it and you get and you make it, great. If you're part of it and you get screwed, you made that decision. So I've always stayed Switzerland on the whole thing. It isn't Hex, and
it's not,
but nothing is. So to try and hold something to that, especially under, like you said, the time constraints that they're under, is also not really a fair argument to sit there and say, you guys suck, because we don't. Well, everything sucks compared to Hex. So, that's really a moot point.
It is tough. There's a time constraint. I've noticed that also, and I don't know how much of that is a backlash against the Hexy folks evangelizing their own product. They have big ideas and they want to deliver on them. And when you get excited about that kind of thing, you evangelize it. You believe in it. Let's assume that they believe in the thing they're building. They want to tell people about it. They want to get people excited. That is just bound to cause arguments. I mean, there's going to be people. Let me take a step back. One of the really brilliant tensions within Hex is the the guaranteed return you get from staking versus any more abstract or derivative financial product built on it. So the Hourglass contracts are like this. The very first one couldn't stake on your behalf. You just had to put your Hex in. It was not staked, and you just basically waited to see people come in, people go out, and then you take your dividend, and maybe you're ahead, maybe you're not. There's a natural tension that the more people participate in derivative products, the more lucrative the remaining stakers' position is, right? Because it's based on the amount of coins staked. That's how it's divided. So if 1% of people stake, you get 100x the interest versus inflation. As opposed to if everybody just said, nope, nothing's Hex, we're all in on Hex, 100% of coins are staked, you just get the inflation rate. So these products that are building on top have a high bar to hit in terms of the value they deliver. Mm-hmm. And people who want to experiment or have some speculative instruments should participate in all the things that they think are worth speculating in. If you think that trading your Hex for Hexy is going to yield better dividends than staking that Hex, put some of your Hex in that. It's just a mixed portfolio, but it all kind of is based on Hex as opposed to what people do with their dollars or whatever their fiat currency is. So with that comes the risk that the speculative asset doesn't perform or doesn't deliver what it says it will. So like if Hexy never delivers another DApp, will it have been worth it? Like you'll have to ask the people who got in on Hexy if they thought that was worth it.
Yeah.
Just making bets.
I just wanted to address it a little bit from your perspective.
No, it's fair. When I know my name gets used, I'm sure my name gets used more than is actually true. But in that case, it's true. I actually do talk to those guys and did consult on stuff and did produce some things for the mobile app for them. So, I mean, that's legit. And it's a fair question.
Yeah. And I've seen that there is two distinct camps over there that, there's the Hex business side and then there was the mobile app side, and they kind of merged when it first started, so I know they, they've merged those two together, and you've worked more on the mobile app part of it than the actual Hex business side of it.
Yeah, that's correct. And I reviewed a bunch of stuff for the Hex business side and have made some recommendations both for code changes and for process changes for them. To try and build more trust, and just give like domain knowledge, like the idea of a gated multi-sig wallet. Just like, here's some things you can do if what you're trying to do is go for transparency. You say you're about transparency. Here's some steps you can take.
Yeah, right on. I don't want to beat that dead horse anymore. It's like I said, it's been an emotionally charged deal. Every time I get on and anybody says anything about it, I just get freaking hate and all that other shit. And that's not what I tried to create here in this whole community. I've been trying to, bring everybody together and give everybody a voice. And sometimes those voices cross each other's paths in a way that, pisses them off. And, so be it. That's what Discourse is.
And they're passionate. I mean, these are both passionate people.
Exactly. They're both passionate. Yeah. They're both teams are passionate, and they're passionate about their projects. And, and then sometimes it turns into insults, and then people get really upset, and, and then it's just a shit show at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anybody, even GT, I don't think he was really trying to pick. I think he was really just trying to caution. Just the way he came off, was translated, in emotions and everything. But I don't think he was really trying to be a prick about it. I mean, he got that way a little bit later as it progressed, but I think he was really just trying to give a word of caution.
I saw some posts in the Hex Pro Telegram group that were kind of just F you.
Yeah, there was some of that. Yeah.
That's fine. Again, people are passionate, they get heated. Particularly,
well, initially when the topic came up, not as it progressed. Yes, we know as it progressed, it got way out of hand.
So back to now. Thanks for the Ninja Guinea, and I'm going to give him some time because I haven't spoken enough about Hex Toys. We've always talked about Hex.Live and those guys merging together and working with Firebun and
I'm watching my mailbox. My order's in.
You put your order in for your Hex Toys?
Yeah.
I haven't had the time yet to actually sit down and talk to him about the hats, but he's gonna put some hats together for us, guys. He wanted to he wanted to collaborate with a DS Discourse Syndicate hat, some type of maybe a flat brim snapback with a pirate thing on it, or all black with a DS on it, or something, with the Hex Toys deal. So we're going to do a little something with him on that. But I really dig the app, man. I think it's a good looking thing. And he's got a lot of cool social media stuff. Did you help them with
the radar? He's been flying under the radar a little bit, but I see these mentions here and there, and then suddenly.
He's testing and he's getting things rolling. I think he's kind of waiting for his inventory to build up, and so that he can kind of fully launch. And he's got a few things in the inventory and whatnot, but he's kind of like laying back as he's building. Now, did you help him with
Sometimes
some
they got to
things?
order X amount and stuff. Understand supply chains. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you help him with anything, Kyle?
I have not. Let me think about that. So they've been largely self-sufficient. They have asked a couple of questions over the last few months, and they told me they were starting to work on a couple things that I have had a hand in, and I'd sort of be happy to help. Just let me know when you have a specific question or just want an explainer on whatever. But no, they've been largely self-sufficient and flying under the radar and just delivering very cool stuff.
Yeah, they got cool stuff. They got good looking products that they're coming out with too. They've kind of taken the Hex logo and made their own deal out of it, and it's kind of a cool. It is a cool concept. So, hat off to those guys, Hex Toys. Let's see it, man. Keep bringing it, bro. And we'll talk about that hat too. You're talking about making a hat, so we'll talk about that. And thanks for the Ninja Guinea there, buddy. Appreciate it. You guys are generous. There's a question in the chat that I wanted to bring up just to kind of move the conversation into using your brain here a little bit. Somebody said something, and I don't understand the question. I'm just going to say it because it sounded smart, and you may just say, "Oh no, that doesn't mean anything." Ragnarox 666. I've never heard of the guy so far. He's new to me and as far, but how does ETH keep spam off the blocks? Could banks and governments make team attack to clog up ETH if DeFi really takes off? So I guess he's talking about spam attacks on the. We've seen some of that happen before.
Yeah, we have. So the way the spam attack works is that whoever is trying to clog up the network basically has to pay to do that. So usually it's done for short periods, right around where you would have sort of an important point in time where something's going to happen or roll over. Hold on just a minute.
Is Kinetics in there? Dude, you in there, or are you just you're sitting there with nothing's turned on? Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, so we saw this during EOS launch, and we've seen it a couple times during lobbies, at the ends of lobbies, because it's expensive to do. What you do is you submit kind of a junk transaction, to transfer 0 ETH to some other address I control, pay a super high gas fee to do that, and then miners will prioritize it and then not do other things as a result. So it's not economically viable to do that for long periods of time. So it's unlikely. Now, what has happened that I've noticed since January is that the average fee is like 25 times higher. So instead of being able to get your stuff done for 2 Gwei per gas, it's like 40 to 50 to get a fast or normal transaction confirmed. Usually there were quiet times of day, so I would just opt to run in early morning or late night, my time, or sometimes middle of the day. It sort of depends because we're on a global network, so peaks don't quite line up with what you might expect. But that phenomenon has kind of gone away. Either people are just have noticed, and so the price is evened out over time, and it's just higher all the time, or I don't know. It seems really inexplicable to me that it's so much more expensive now than it was even 4 or 5 months ago.
Now, didn't they uncover or discover some attack the other day that was being done by some type of an ERC20 scam or some kind of a spam attack scam?
So that does not specifically ring a bell. I know that there were some accidental spam. And it's sort of an attack, but it's kind of on purpose, around the launch of a couple of the Hex Hourglass contracts, where people try and get in first, right? Because that's the most profitable. It's actually worth it to you to spend 100 times the gas fee to get in first. They kind of did that by accident at launch. I think there were some Gosh, I've read over the months that there are some very active projects that require a lot of interaction. So it's kind of natural, in air quotes, that people are trying to do more just generally. And for the people that need to interact, like I think Paxos, like a stable coin that's ERC20 based, and that has a huge amount of volume. And if you're trying to do those transactions, or if you try to buy it through one of the fiat on-ramp products like MoonPay or something, they just kind of eat the gas cost, and they don't really care. So it's not an individual judiciously making a decision to pay this or that. They just do what MetaMask suggests, or what the ETH gas station API suggests, and they just sort of do it. Or it's built into a web UI, and the user isn't really aware that they're paying 10 times what they would have a couple months ago. So I don't know. I didn't read about the specific thing you're talking about. The spam attack is specifically a burst of super high gas price transactions, usually vacuous transactions.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is just a persistent increase in price, average price.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what this was. But I think it was an actual like Ponzi type scheme that because of the amount of transaction, it was acting like it was a spam.
Yeah, and like I said, I noticed that, or I've read about a couple of those.
Yeah. So in the chat it says, is Kyle networked? So I guess so. The question is going to focus around: are you working? In crypto, do you work outside of Hex, or have you only worked in projects within Hex? And it's the question is Kyle networked in with ETH developers from the foundation? Are any of them seeing the light with Hex?
No and no. so I'm not. I mean, I've looked at other stuff, and I've been involved in a couple other communities, mostly to learn and see if there are any ways to build bridges. But it's just uniform rejection. That I read somewhere that that's no good. I've had some people be like, "Hey, why do you have this associated with your name?" So no, that is a strange phenomenon. That is a genuinely strange phenomenon. I don't understand how people in this kind of alternative tech space are totally incurious about the projects that live within it. Totally incurious. They're like, nah. Somebody forwarded me a Twitter thread where somebody just makes just the wrong claim that BTC claims actually cost you your BTC, and like, oh, here's the exchange rate. But it wasn't like that.
Don't even need to be in that wallet.
It's
you can
not
empty your wallet right now and then go claim on it.
Yeah, like that's just not. That's so off the mark. It's not even wrong. Like you don't even understand the premise. There's zero curiosity to look into it further.
Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't seen. That's what I don't understand. It's an ERC20 token, and why are they so afraid to even look at it like it's a hot potato or something? I don't get it. But now I've been putting a lot of twos and twos together, looking at a little conspiracy here. And you're part of it, Kyle. You've said some things that have sparked my mind as far as what I think's going on here. So I've heard I've heard that our dev, Hex's dev, the main dev, is a very particular person. I heard he's very good at what he does. He obviously knows Solidity really, really well. And you've admitted to that. I've heard that he's a difficult guy to work with because of his perfection. That he hasn't made a whole bunch of friends everywhere because of his perfection and how he works. So now we've also got this phenomenon where this old, now this is just my conspiracy theory. Now we've got this old ETH money that we're called the Genesis whale is influxing ETH into not only the Hex project itself and big amounts, but some of the dApps that are on Hex. in which, you know, you've been privy to giving them, you know, or assist. So it proves to me that, you know, the Hex dev community is actually helping some of these dApps. There's funds showing up from this old ancient ETH account, which tells me that if it's not Vitalik himself, then it's maybe one of their devs. And maybe some of the animosity might be from a dev that might not be a friendly guy that people may not like. And maybe that's where some of the problems are coming from. This is just my conspiracy theory, but I'm saying, you know, maybe, you know, that might be a reason why Hex isn't, you know,
That's an interesting idea. Let's just say I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the person that we're talking about really seems to value privacy and his anonymity. So I won't say more about our conversations in particular, but the general sense I get from him is that that's not him.
Okay. All right. Just a
It's
thought.
the next Satoshi scenario.
That is pretty funny. That's been pretty incredible.
Was Kyle on
I've
that
seen the
team?
links. I wish.
What's been
I don't know,
incredible?
that Kyle, he knows an awful lot about Hex and how to hook it up with other things. So
That's true. But if that were me, I wouldn't be constrained by a day job. I don't think. It's really flying low for that. What was I saying? I don't even remember. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So this address showing up on all the apps and stuff, that's been very surprising. People sort of refer to it by the last 4 characters of its address, I think. And I had no idea what they were talking about. And then I saw these transactions. A couple people asked me, like, "Hey, am I reading this right? Is this really?" And yeah, it's like 3 steps back. It's not even hidden, you know, via an exchange or whatever. It's definitely within 2 address steps of a Genesis block person.
Yeah. So that tells me it's, you know, it's either, like I said, Vitalik himself or one of the old devs, you know, it's got to be, you know, somebody that caliber, you know, and, you know, then I just put 2 and 2 together. Somebody of that caliber who understands Solidity as well as they do might be the person who maybe put Hex together. So that was just, you know, that was how I put that together.
I mean, it's not a bad idea, but you know, a year of conversations.
You don't think so?
It's not like that.
Right on. Hey, so
He wouldn't be in the same room with those people, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, that doesn't mean that he wasn't in the same room, and that might be why they're not in the same room. Yeah.
And he's hidden it even from me.
Hence the animosity, you know. But anyway, so I'm gonna go back to the chat room real quick and see if we got some questions. But
sure. I think one more because I've already had my door burst in on.
Oh, okay. So first of all, what up, Mama Rock? We have a so within this. What's cool about this community, Kyle, is the Dlive crew. They're actually starting to like pay attention to Hex, and because we pop up on their list, so they'll tune in. And Mama Rock, she actually came on our last Friday show, and came in. She has a paranormal research show that she does on Dlive. And she's like, "What are these guys all about?" Well, she got in the chat, and then we invited her on, and she came onto the show. And so we've got a kind of an opportunity here with the Dlive community because they kind of understand crypto because they're using it, and some of them don't even realize they're using it. But
they're getting lemons,
and they're getting lemons. so we're going to try and help them make. We're going to try and help them make lemonade and bring them into Hex. So welcome, Mama Rock, and all of your crew, if any of them are in here, and hope you're learning some more. So let's see. Let me find one more good question here. Let me go back down. It's Elon Satoshi.
No.
Someone needs to make a Hex Conspiracies chat. Who's peeped?
No, go to Facebook or something. Please, no.
Let's see. Firebun. Anybody got any last question?
It doesn't really require all that much of a conspiracy because I mean it works. Where's the conspiracy?
It works, and you're meant to not know much about.
Just use it. Mm-hmm. You don't need to know how a car is built to drive one. You know, so
yeah.
You're overthinking it.
Best tips. Oh, okay. Here's one from Franklin, and maybe you can end with this. It says, "What?" So if somebody wanted to be a dev, or somebody is a dev, or working on bettering their skills, what is the best tips for learning Solidity? Where should they go to start digging into that monster?
What a great question, but a terrible question for me. So Hex was actually my first project to do that. So it was easy because it wasn't delivered yet. There was nothing kind of riding on it. It was just like you can read and learn and ask questions and just be genuine in what you're asking. Don't act like you know anything, and the people usually respond well to that because they're a lot more likely to help out a humble person than someone who comes in thinking that they're just going to pick it up and they know what's what. There are online resources. The names are escaping me now, but I think most of those are probably good to start with. There's a lot of tools that have training wheels. Like Truffle is a big one. It's a very popular DApp framework that has training wheels, and so it is doing stuff under the hood that as you get more advanced, you'll realize is bad or is not what you want. You don't have fine-grained control over things. But if you really are starting from zero, training wheels are good. And then you can start to take them off. So there's a dedicated stack exchange to Ethereum. That's a great place. If you run into things, you have specific questions about error messages, it can lead you down rabbit holes that expose both what a pile of garbage the Ethereum virtual machine is, but also answer your question and maybe teach you a thing or two. So I mean, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of idiosyncrasies that are specific to Ethereum development and Solidity. So if you want to learn to develop software, don't start with this. This is not the place to start because there's too much. There are too many particularities and idiosyncrasies that you are going to think you know a lot more than you actually do because it's not portable. It doesn't apply in any sane context. So if you want to only ever do this, then start with this. But if you want to just learn development in general, start with an online course on Python or JavaScript, something light but portable and applicable to other things, and then circle back to this once you feel like you have a good grasp of fundamentals.
Right on. Well, there you have it, all of you dev nerds out there and geeks. Get your butt to work and go learn the basics first before you start fucking with Solidity, because it's going to kick your ass.
yeah, and it will kick your ass in ways that it will just never happen to you in any other context. So it's just self-torture, kind of for no reason.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Something like C and C++ are way easier to.
Absolutely, and
learn.
Much more sane, and decades of experienced people that can answer all your questions with real answers that are going to work on a spacecraft or in your mobile phone or somewhere else, not on the imaginary world computer that we're all trying to work with.
Right on. All right, Kyle. Well, I won't keep you anymore. I appreciate you coming on with us again, man. And,
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's nice to meet you again, or nice to re-meet you, Clark Kent, Superman, Chaos.
Whenever you do have an important update, I would appreciate it, man. Just give me a call and you can get on anytime, bro.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, Kyle. Take care. See you, bud. All right. Johnny, so there we had an update from Kyle. Got to ask some questions. Got to kick, Hexy around again,
which I was not kicking Hexy around. I said nothing.
I know, but I'm just saying it's like, I've just been trying to keep, that off of the table so that they can go get their thing done and do what they got to do. And but I did want to make the point that, yes, the assessments of what's going on was fair. All of the name calling and the stuff afterwards was just tensions flaring on both sides. But there are some, first of all, there's this very high bar of trying to hold any crypto to Hex's standards. It's it's not fair anywhere because Hex blows everything out of the water, especially a DApp that's
I'm kind of
trying.
bored, man.
What's that?
I'm kind of bored with it. I'm looking for stuff, and they're like, "Oh, this one's going to do this," and I'm like,
Well,
yeah, mine already does something. What about you? Nothing looks interesting anymore. It's like,
no,
no, but you got to go look at this one, and it's like,
it's really made.
I heard that promise 3 years ago.
It's really made crypto boring. I mean, it's really like you know, like I had some. It's funny. I couldn't sell it, so I had some Dogecoin that I bought way like in the beginning, just as a joke. I'm like, oh, I got to have some Dogecoin, so I put it in my my Bittrex account, and it's just been sitting there forever, you know. And when I liquidated my BTC a few weeks back, I went in there and I put a sell order in for my Doge. It wouldn't sell. It was just like, it was so stagnant. It wouldn't sell. So I put the sell order in there, and then I just left it there, whatever. I haven't gone back into that account. And then I hear this TikTok thing about Doge pumping. So I'm like, oh shit, that freaking sell order's in there. And yeah, it's all gone now. So, it was, and
you didn't even get the high price. You left your selling.
Of course
there, right?
not. I didn't think to
price.
stick a freaking order in there for, I didn't think of doing that, which
I love to do that on low liquidity sites. You see something that's like 15 ETH on one side. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to set a buy, way down here and a sell way up here. So then when it burns through that liquidity, I'm going to get that hit,
Yeah.
And there's exchanges that have low liquidity like that.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell? Just throw it in there.
Yeah. So that happened. But yeah, anyway, we're going to get rid of the chest too. So, hey, you guys actually pumped it up a little bit.
But don't trade.
Okay. Don't trade. Just take.
Don't exchange.
Just take free. Let's see.
Stake and collect. You can't beat the stake and collect. No stress. Get to keep all your hair. It's great.
So thank you, Dev, Kyle. A bunch of thank yous. So you are saying Elon is Satoshi, Kyle? Oh, I guess Kyle. We're gonna have to call him the. Kyle said Elon was Satoshi. I guess he didn't answer. So anyway, every time I go into the chat and start looking at questions, there's that girl bouncing. These guys keep putting the girls in their bouncing, and so I get distracted.
Oh, I got you. Getting distracted, getting all those anime chicks dancing in your feeds.
No, this ain't that.
I'm sitting there doing that too, dropping them in there. When I was watching the show the other day, I got out of the chat room and I dropped into the chat and I was posting some of those at you.
Yeah. So okay, so Tiago said I have one.
I know it's going to take you some time. You got to save every damn one of those now.
What's that?
You're saving every one of those to your favorites as you're going down the list.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I I don't even know how to do that. What do I got to do to get that on my?
You click on them and you hit add to favorites, and then it drops into your favorites.
Oh, that's not on my.
It is when you should be. No, I think you have to do it from the chat, don't you?
Yeah. So I'm clicking on it. Oh, there it is.
It gives you options. It says block, and then you add to it.
Oh,
that's how you get them. So when you drop in on Hexo's stream, you can start posting those. Did you get the pirate?
No. Now I'm going to have to do that. I see. Now, okay. Well, let me start.
Yeah, that's where the pirate came from. Somebody farmed it for you.
Yeah, you did that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I didn't do it. I wasn't the originator. The originator was one of the Yodas.
Do you know
I don't want to say it wrong.
Do you know that you have like the worst lag of everybody? I don't see the lag as much, but when you talk, it's like you've got like a delay or something going on because it's hard to talk sometimes because we end up talking.
It's my phone.
Oh.
And that's why I chime in on people and I hate it. I hate interrupting. That's why I was like, dude, get somebody else.
I'm gonna pump this treasure chest up for everybody. Come on, let me see some better stuff than this.
Release the Kraken.
Put some better stuff in there, depending upon what I'm gonna put in here. Let's see. Oh, they're starting to put some in there.
I think you have to add to the chest.
Yeah, I do. So let's see here. They don't. Oh, custom. I see. So you can put a custom amount in there. Kaboom, ba boom. Gotcha. Okay.
I was thinking about teaching short-term gain class on Hex, being that I'm a long-term staker, and allow them to see that their short terms are, yeah, I mean, you can play it that way, and you can make money, weekly or whatever. But as a long-term staker, I'm going to benefit from that short-term action. But I mean, in the industry where we're kind of a now instant gratification kind of scenario, I think it's a hard sell to tell people that they need to hold their coins. Even though they say, "Oh, I'm going to hold," really, the mindset though is still short term. So when you tell them they've got to lock their coins to earn more, they're like, I don't want to do that. I want to play. So I think, I don't know, there might be some merit in that.
Yeah. I think that we need to focus on doing some marketing. So the Corsairs, the guys that got into the Joe Rogan media blitz, putting that package together and putting the press pack together and all that, they've already started submitting it. So one of the strategies that I'd like to use is to, hit the right people, like for instance the Rogan show. I want to hit their producer when we start to pump a little bit here, which I'm hoping it should be soon, because when you're going sideways, the community's not that excited, even though the Hex community is freaking overexcited all the damn time. But the atmosphere is not that of just a whole bunch of excitement. So I want to start submitting things when it pumps. But I think that in light of what I saw, and this is what we're going to talk about. So, hey, Bran, by the way, I know you're in there in the chat. Shoot me a DM in Telegram. I want to talk to you. But I think that we need to start thinking about marketing a little more as a community. Because it's up to us, and it's one thing for us to get on streams and talk and blast fudders and talk tech and lay Hex out on the line. But it's another thing for us to go out there and start actively actually marketing to people. And what I was saying in the beginning of the stream was that I was wrong by saying, I think that our black swan moment is going to be coming from within crypto. I thought it was too late, too little, too late to bring people from outside, and obviously with this little Dogecoin pump, I'm not right. I'm incorrect. That a black swan event can come from outside, and it's just about the right marketing tool, and using the right thing. So I take that back. I think that maybe there is something to going outside.
We're going sideways. We're basically blacklisted. So, if we're going to go sideways because we're basically blacklisted from the rest of the community, it's like, just imagine, that, we talk about it all the time. The crypto community believes that they're significant because they're on, that it's such a large amount of people, and it's really not. It's like it's that battle of numbers. It's that getting enough eyeballs on it to make the decisions. People that haven't been corrupted by the status quo, or been fed to the meat grinder, or taught that training is the behavior that they need to do. You can't you can train, teach a person something better than you can untrain somebody from habits they've already created and they live by. That is a conversion versus someone just looking at it with a fresh set of eyes and going, hey, I can see where that could work. We need open-mindedness, and I think we're running into a wall with the people that want to keep the status quo. So if we do not reach out beyond this realm where we are getting blocked and banned and pushed because they just don't want to listen to it because it doesn't fit their narrative, we have to get out of that box, and we do have to get out into the real world, because the real world has a lot more people than the few people that are in crypto.
Yeah, no, you're correct. How the only reason that I was saying that is because yes, I know that long term and for the future growth of crypto in general and Hex is going to be from outside. I mean, that's just it's got to be that way because we're not that big of a community, like you said. It's not that there's a lot of financial energy, and there's enough financial energy to make everybody in this chat room right here who's holding Hex wealthy beyond their wildest imaginations, more than likely. But in order to get adoption, in order to make crypto itself grow, in order to make Hex really grow, we are going to need outside adoption. Now, I thought that was going to be a slow process. I thought it was going to be a process that we haven't seen yet in crypto, period. I mean, we saw it in 2017 when we shot up to, 20,000 Bitcoin, and the market cap on all crypto was like 800 and something, $billion, pushing $1 trillion. But now we're back down to, 300 and something, $1 billion. And so all that money left and all those people left. So cranking it again is going to come from the outside, but it's going to be a black swan event, not a let's roll everybody in. There's got to be like this whole thing that went down with TikTok.
I think Hex could be the black swan event that rolls people in once people know about it.
Hex is the strategy, not the tactic. The tactic is TikTok bringing people into Dogecoin in one day and pumping the price like that. That's the tactic. The strategy, yes, bringing people from outside. Yeah, okay. Hex could be that black swan event that happens in general.
I mean, think about this. Shut off the crypto thought process for a second. Say I'm trying to sell you on crypto for a first time, right? And I'm telling you, I have a coin that you put in the bank, and it makes you get more of them out, and they have a value. Or you could tell them, I have this coin that someday is going to do this something. You see, that doesn't work in the real world. You can't sell somebody on a product that doesn't do anything.
But if you speak real world language like CD, now you're changing that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a real world product.
It has a purpose. It
has a real world
purpose. It is a product that has purpose.
Yeah, it has a real world product match. But it's crypto. People understand what a CD is. They know what a certificate of deposit is. They understand that. So if we can, make the narrative, hey, this is a real world crypto product, first of its type, only one that's ever been a completed project. Blah, 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 blah. What I've got to research and find out what this guy did in TikTok. If it was just a stupid pump and dump, typical enter a Telegram channel with your FOMO, and it just hit TikTok right or whatever, or if he put out some kind of elaborate video and plan and everything. I haven't seen the details of it yet, but that's what I wanted to talk about tonight is how the hell does something like that happen? Pump Dogecoin? Fucking really? So
if we could get Richard on Joe Rogan, it's going to make that little baby pump look like absolutely nothing. Because Joe is a honest guy who asks the right questions. They're intelligent, they're articulate, and he's going to get to the bottom of it. And he isn't biased because he's not coming out of the crypto community with this preset bias of we got to attack Richard.
Yeah,
and that's going to make a big difference.
Well, and yeah, Joe has that personality. He is that kind of guy, but the only thing I have hesitation about is that he's not really a pirate. He is bought and paid for. He does have sponsors. He does have influencers. He does have. There's big money backing some of the things he's doing. I'm not saying that he's
but he does
connected
whatever
with
the hell
all
he
of that
wants.
to an extent. I was subject when I was there. I was subject to rules and regulations and things. So it's not as pirate as we might think. He does have that attitude, and he does have, but there is, there, as soon as lobbying powers start getting introduced to anything, then you start, influence changes. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that it is open, and then we do submit, that they do see what we've got and what Hex is and what Richard is, and that it's all kumbaya and we get to go over there and it pumps it. And it could be, you're right. It could be that Black Swan event. That's why I'm kind of waiting for all the things
Richard,
to kind of get close to perfect as possible.
Richard at the moment is the most controversial character in all the crypto space.
Oh yeah.
That is the truth.
Oh yeah.
At the moment.
He is
people
sand
love him or hate him. He is the guy.
He's sand in the panties of all of crypto. Yes.
And and it's frustrating, I watching interviews where he has to deal with these no-brainers and stuff, it kills me, because it's like, it's just so frustrating. I can't even get into it. It's sad to see that, somebody tries to do anything innovative in any sort of way that rubs rubs the mainstream the wrong way. When electricity was done, and we had the DC versus AC electricity. Well, DC current, they couldn't put a meter on it, so that's why we have AC current in our houses. There were all kinds of stunts and stuff done. That's what happens when there's innovation.
Well, it's not just innovation, Johnny. It's there. These people are, it's the crypto spring. Everybody's been hibernating. They've been all hibernating bears. A lot of them had big channels, with, hundreds of thousands of viewers on their channels. And now they've got like as many as we do. I've seen some of these guys that had like, 100K followers, and their streams are doing.
What happens when you shield shit coins and you get everybody wrecked? They ain't going to follow you no more.
Well, it's that. And then everybody left crypto too, and everybody's in a bear market. Nobody's watching their shows anymore. It's just the way it is. They've lost them for all kinds of reasons. And, and those guys are running, 75, 100, 150 viewers. And we just put this stream up out of the blue in an afternoon on a freaking Wednesday afternoon, and we've still got 60 followers. We had like up to 80 people watching, and now we have 60 something watching here at the end. Kyle's gone, and we're still pumping the type of numbers that these guys that have thousands and thousands of viewers we're doing. So there's a lot of different factors as to why these guys are doing what they're doing. Well, I got to bring this cat up. Yo, what's up, dude?
I got the sunglasses, man. And Chaos took them off, man.
What kind of glasses are those?
Those are bug eyes right there.
There we go. All right, it's a sunglass stream.
Why are you guys fucking with me? These are my seeing specs, man. These are not sunglasses.
No, I was just wearing these because Chaos had his on. That's all. Usually he doesn't.
So
no, usually I don't.
So
I don't usually have the hair down either.
What's going on? I know I'm late to the party. Kyle ever show or?
Yeah, we're done with Kyle. Kyle came and went, bud. Awesome.
I'm gonna watch it later then.
Yeah, no, he came and went, and we've gotten a lot out of Kyle. I think that he's educated all of us pretty good. I think that the inside Hex community has gotten a lot of good information from him, and
awesome. I can't wait to watch it then.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and he's done it a few times, and I mean, we can't beat. Good Texture asked him some really good questions last time and deep dive. So if you haven't seen it and you want to deep dive a little more, go watch the last Dev Kyle episode, which I have posted back up to YouTube. I'm not live streaming on YouTube anymore because that seems to be where the problem is. So we're just kind of putting it up there. After this, I'll be able to put it back up there on YouTube and you can watch it there. But
Create the archive.
yeah, I created the archive because we don't want to get kicked off anymore. They're just gatekeeping like crazy. And plus Dlive is so much fun. So anyway, we're talking Cabana about doing some marketing and putting the teams together, and we were talking about the Rogan show and trying to get Hex on there and getting Richard on there. But there's some other platform we just saw. I don't know. Did you see the Dogecoin thing with the TikTok?
Yeah, and of course, immediately when I saw that, of course, if you're into Hex, your brain immediately goes and be like, okay, well, can't we do something like that? So.
And that's my whole point is we can. There's and I'm not just saying hey, let's do a TikTok thing, but we've got to start becoming innovative. There's enough of us smart motherfuckers in this thing that we can figure out a way to.
I need to get some models and do some body paints with hexes on them, and then
there
we'll
you
put them
go.
on TikTok. That's what we do.
There you go. Ed, exactly.
They'll watch that.
You make a dance, dude. So the thing on the TikToks is like my daughter, she's always messing with me. She'll send me the TikToks, right? She'll be like, here, check this one out, Dad. So I'm always watching these stupid TikTok things on it. She sends them in my text message. And these girls do these dances, these same stupid dances. And I mean, yeah, man, get a girl painted up in Hex and get her to
strategically
painted, and we
look really close right here. Let's put all our advertisements strategically placed throughout the body, and then if we move in here,
maybe everybody will be doing
high interest
the Hex stuff.
More ways than one. Yeah. All right. High interest. Yes.
So anyway, I just get everybody thinking about that.
Yeah, and I think like the two of the hottest things right now with younger people or app-wise, TikTok is like the new Snap, and Robinhood is like the trading platform because everybody's like, oh, I can buy stocks now. Dave Portnoy does it, and he's killing it, or he's an excellent marketer. I'll put it that way, and that's got everybody opening up an account and trading, even if it's just small positions. They feel like they're a part of the game. So I mean, even market, you just have to know, I guess, where the eyeballs are, and they don't know any better. Obviously, if Dogecoin is doing what it's doing, come on.
Being an asset on Robinhood would be really effective because, or even something like eToro, because basically you're piggy banking off these exchanges that are already doing marketing, as where things like Binance and Coinbase are not quite as proficient at advertising to the general public. And the fact that they haven't been advertising to the general public is part of the problem why we can't seem to gain more adoption, because they're not reaching out beyond the crypto space. They're trying to serve the need within the crypto space. They're not really expanding on that.
Well, it's the low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
It's a marketing move. It's the low-hanging fruit, and that's what they should be doing, because if they weren't, they'd be stupid. If they're trying to build a business or whatever. But like what's funny, you said that Robinhood thing. Litecoin called me, Moses called me, and he said, dude, freaking Doge dried up on Robinhood. It literally they ran out on Robinhood. That was how freaking crazy it went. It was like,
it's like the magic combo right there, like in 2020, TikTok and Robinhood.
So
I mean, who would have thought that?
There's a reason there's marketing.
It's
marketing works.
Yeah, it's funny. Come on, I was telling everybody, I couldn't get into my Bittrex account. It was like they were locking me out. I lost my 2FA, and they were making me do freaking dances, and I was basically doing TikTok, performances for them just to get my freaking, back into my account. And I finally did, and it was cool because it was at the top. BTC was at the top, and I got to liquidate my BTC out of there and shit, and some other stuff I had in there. But I couldn't sell the Doge. I put a sell order in for the Doge, and I couldn't get it sold, and so I just left it while freaking that order went through. Right. After all this shit went down. But yeah, I got rid of all that shit, all of my stuff out of my Bittrex account.
Nice.
But seriously though, guys, if you can find the right influencers, you can pay them to host your referral link and talk about Hex. Yeah. Hexologist does that here.
That's how the crypto industry's worked.
Go to hex.doctor.
Hex.doctor.
And get your free Hex on top of whatever you on your 10% extra on your adoption amplifier. How does he say it? I forget it. But anyway, all right, guys. Well, anything you got to add?
10%.
Your extra 10%.
No, man. I just wanted to come by
it's
and say
extra
hi.
10% in your adoption amplifier.
Cool. All right, man.
I will definitely check out the replay this evening. So
yeah. Well, thanks, guys. All you, Bran. I'll get in touch with you here in Telegram in a minute, and then all the rest of you. Thanks for all the lemons and the ice creams and the freaking diamonds, Bran. I don't know how you get all this money, man. You must be stealing your grandma's freaking money out of her drawer or something, buddy. You always got lemons and diamonds going like crazy, and ninjaginis and all that stuff.
Is Firebun in there telling you to open the chest?
Yeah, I can't. I got to open the chest. Hold on a second. Oh, wait. Hold on 1 second. Hey, what's up, mate?
Hey, go on, boys. What's cracking?
Oh, man, we were just getting ready to end the show, but
yeah.
It's Quattro Cinco Pirate, man.
Look at you. You clean up good, man. You're all cleaned up and
Check
shit.
you out.
You look like a citizen, man. You don't look like you're running out in the freaking wild.
Ozzy Osbourne turned Viking or something. Yeah.
Just making an honest living.
All right.
In the office. I'll let you. Sorry, I just joined. Yeah, sorry. I missed the whole thing, so I'll watch it later. But yeah.
Nah, no problem.
Hey, you got the glasses memo, so that's all that matters.
Let me get the treasure chest out here. Here we go. All right.
You're here for the big reveal.
I will catch up with you guys probably Friday.
All right, Johnny. We'll see you, bro.
Good to see you.
Yep.
So here it goes. Chest. Yeah, it's coming. It's doing its thing, guys. Blah 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 blah. Dun 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 dun. Treasure chest. Chest rewards will be sitting in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pirate treasure released.
Yeah.
And let's look his follower. Bran, of course, he got his lemons back. S-Star, Kinetics, Hextoshi, and Franklin. Look at you guys. You guys all cranked out a little bit of lemon there. How awesome. Lemon. That's cool, man. I like that. Bran got his lemons back. Right on, guys. Hey, thanks for coming, everybody. Hey, sorry, man.
Nice work, RG. Nice to see you again. I'll catch up with you another time. Thanks for.
All right, my brother. We'll see you.
We'll be watching the replay tonight, man.
Yep. Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.